This can't be real, but it's real. So CNN reported the U.S. military anticipates Trump will issue order to plan for further troop withdrawals from Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay. It's a good thing, right? For the most part. Let's see how CNN spins this. It says that U.S. military commanders are anticipating that a formal order will be given by Donald Trump as soon as this week to begin a further withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan and Iraq before Trump leaves office on January 20, according to two U.S. officials familiar. The Pentagon has issued a notice to commanders known as a warning order to begin planning to draw down the number of troops in Afghanistan to 2,500 and 2,500 in Iraq by January 15th, the officials said. Currently, there are approximately 4,500 troops in Afghanistan and 3,000 in Iraq. The Pentagon and the White House did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. While Monday's news indicates that the Pentagon appears ready to remove thousands more U.S. troops from Afghanistan and Iraq, it also suggests that Trump may fall short of fulfilling one of his core promises to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan before he leaves office. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Then, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper sent a classified memo earlier this month to the White House asserting that it was the unanimous recommendation of the chain of command that the U.S. not withdraw its troop presence in Afghanistan any further until conditions were met. Imagine having so much hubris, believing in American exceptionalism so much that you think another country that we should have never been in should meet conditions before we pull our people who are not from that country out of their country and stop killing innocent people. In a war, by the way, which according to the Afghanistan papers, we had no idea what we were doing there. They didn't even know what the mission was. And people who were formerly part of the chain of command in Afghanistan were like, we don't know what we're doing here. We need to go somewhere. This is pointless. I mean, once again, Osama bin Laden is Saudi Arabian. Osama bin Laden was originally Al-Qaeda was originally put together by the CIA. He was hired and that organization put together by the CIA. We found Osama, in Pakistan. And we ravaged Afghanistan for 2 decades, despite finding Osama in Pakistan and Osama originally being part of the Saudi royal family and Al-Qaeda being Saudi Arabian, or at least of Saudi Arabian origin. And yet we're destroying Afghanistan for what? We don't get to dictate terms. It's an excuse. And the fact that, once again, former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper immediately jumped on this bandwagon of keep the troops in Afghanistan. Tammy Duckworth, same thing. What's that? Crenshaw? Dan Crenshaw, same thing. You know, he's a Republican, but same thing. We got to keep them in something 9/11, something our troops, support the troops, Afghanistan, something terrorism. That's what they do, right? Why would I have voted for Biden when, like, Biden is echoing the same sentiments as the neocons in power? They're saying the same thing. Trump is saying keep people out. Like, keep the troops out, reduce the troops, get most of them out. Even though you should get all of them out, but hell, I get it. Most of them out by January, the rest of them out in a couple of months. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing neocons say stay there. Biden is echoing what they're saying and then putting people in his administration that are saying the exact same thing already. That's just immediately one thing that Trump is clearly better than Biden in. Immediately, that's one thing. And yet we're seeing People pretend like this is why I say, y'all. I say, yo, it's about to get real ugly overseas. So I hope people continue to pay attention like they have. Now, hold on. There's another important part I wanted to get to. Hold on. Here we go. So there's sweeping changes at the Pentagon. I don't know if y'all knew about that, and there's some decent ones. No, it wasn't no big old audit where Pentagon's going to be held responsible for the trillions of dollars they've likely stolen and used for black market purposes. I'm talking about like there's some people who have some common sense when it comes to Afghanistan. So this says U.S. military officials have long stressed that the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan should be conditions-based. Once again, going back to my other point, the audacity for you to make a suggestion for conditions in a country and a war we should have never been in. But to continue, it says that those conditions would include the Taliban breaking its ties to Al Qaeda and making progress in peace talks with the Afghan government. Two conditions that have yet to be met. Well, we haven't broken our ties to Al Qaeda. It's weird that we would make that a condition for the Taliban. Probably don't want them teaming up, plotting against us. Anyway, it says, but despite the lack of progress, the Trump administration has already substantially reduced U.S. troops in the country by more than 50%. It's a good thing. Why are they saying it like it's a bad thing? Did I miss something? Say recently bringing the number of troop personnel down to about 4,500, the lowest level since the earliest days of the post 9/11 campaign. This is a good thing. Trump made bringing American troops home a theme of his re-election campaign, but the future of U.S. forces in Afghanistan has remained uncertain amid the mixed messages coming from the administration. That's what's weird to me. There shouldn't be any mixed messages. Last time I checked, Trump technically is the commander-in-chief still. What is the uncertainty if I'm the commander-in-chief and I say I want troops brought home because I'm the commander-in-chief and I'm the commander-in-chief? So now it's funny, right? CNN and the warmongers all around the world, they don't have a problem criticizing Trump when he wants to use his power to unilaterally bomb Syria. They don't have a problem with that. They don't care about the mixed messages coming from that. But now, hey, there's mixed messages. Some people in the administration don't want to pull out. Hold up. Last time I checked, every single military official in that building pulls up, walks up, and salutes, puts their salute down, and keeps it moving whenever they encounter Trump, because he, by definition, is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. So if he wants to pull out troops, that should be like, yeah, please do. And if a general has a problem with it, it doesn't matter because you're not the president. It didn't matter when generals had problems with droning innocent civilians. You didn't have a problem with that. Anyway, so National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien has advocated for a more accelerated withdrawal from Afghanistan, irrespective of conditions on the ground, something made more feasible by the installation of White House loyalists in senior defense posts. So Trump has a new national security advisor who's actually saying we're not moving fast enough to pull out troops. See, now look, here we go again, y'all. This is why when people are like, I voted for Biden to get Trump out. Okay, then what? You voted for Biden to get Trump out, and then what? Because just, I'm a foreign policy guy. Just this is better than Biden. Just this. Just the fact that we have an NSA a national security advisor who literally is like, we're not moving fast enough getting troops out of Afghanistan. We're not ending that conflict quick enough. Whereas Biden, who has made his feelings clear, he's going to stay in Afghanistan. He's made it clear through his appointments that he's going to bring people on who want to stay in Afghanistan. And he wants to ramp up in Syria, whereas Trump is also trying to get troops ramped down in Syria, taken out in Syria. And they say he's ramped down operations in Iraq as well. Just this alone, because literally it's like splitting hairs on social issues with them too. Depends on who woke up more racist that morning when it comes to them too. But if you're gonna take away everything else, Biden's also bad on climate change, right? He's bad on climate change, bad on social justice issues, bad on domestic policy. So the one thing I can look at, bad on election integrity, obviously. And the one thing I can look at, foreign policy. And we have, both of them are hawkish on China, although Trump is an economic hawk on China and Biden seems to be leaning more towards military intervention. Trump is less hawkish, obviously, on Russia. And he wants to pull out troops. He wants to bring troops home. He's not making excuses for them to stay. That makes him already better. So I'm not sure, once again, what people's goals were. Because it's clearly Trump makes you uncomfortable, and that's fine. But don't claim, once again, it was about foreign policy. Don't claim it was about peace. Don't claim it was about restoring democracy. Don't claim any of that foo-foo lame nonsense. Because none of it's true. Some people might. I know a person who said they voted because their neighborhood specifically had been dramatically affected by Trump's rhetoric. The neighborhood. Because it's a smaller neighborhood. And they saw a shift. And it became very intolerant. And for her neighborhood, she felt like it was very important for her to get Trump out because her community is the most important thing to her. That is something I can respect. Because it was this is about, because you're supposed to vote for your self-interest. And if you feel like your self-interest has been uniquely affected, or your community has been uniquely affected, and your community obviously is where you live, where your family grows up, where your grandkids will grow up. That is a whole different thing. You're I've seen this this happened, then my neighborhood ended up like this. And if it's a person's place, okay, cool. That I can kind of vibe with that. What I can't stand is when people oh man, I just think that Biden is not racist and Trump is. I just think that Biden is so much, we lost so much respect in the international community because of Trump. Why? Because, Biden will go to war with North Korea. Trump is here trying to make peace with them. Why? What? Sorry, but this is just another example, in my opinion, of I don't feel like people know what the hell they're doing when they go to the voting booth anymore, or what they're advocating for or not advocating for anymore. It says that that O'Brien, the national security advisor, is suggesting an aggressive timeline for troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. And it says O'Brien or anyone else can speculate as they see fit. I'm not going to engage in speculation. I'm going to engage in the rigorous analysis of the situation based on the conditions and the plans that I'm aware of in my conversations with the president. Milley told NPR. It says that sweeping changes in the Pentagon last week have put Trump loyalists in place, and knowledgeable sources told CNN's Jake Tapper last week that the White House directed knowledgeable sources. Here we go with those knowledgeable sources again. Knowledgeable of what? Y'all knowledgeable sources have been trash for years now. Anyway. But it said that the White House directed purge at the Defense Department may have been motivated by the fact that the former Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, and his team were pushing back on the premature withdrawal from Afghanistan that would be carried out before the required conditions on the ground were met. So hold up. So not only are you telling me that Trump brought in somebody who wants to accelerate troop withdrawal, but you're also telling me that he was firing people who didn't want to accelerate troop withdrawal? What? Why are they framing this like this is bad? Am I supposed to be mad? Am I supposed to be mad at this? So you're telling me that with the last couple of months left that that Donald Trump has in power, he's literally cleaning house for people who won't be anti-war enough in this particular scenario, and bringing in people who are trying to do the right thing here, and CNN is actually upset with Trump for not being hawkish enough? That's how they're framing this. Am I mistaken? I feel like I'm not. I feel like this is exactly what's happening. So they're framing this in such a way that is actually bad that Donald Trump is trying to remove troops and is firing people from the Pentagon who will not assist in that effort. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why Trump flies off the handle. This is why he acts so braggadocious and gets so defensive and starts acting more and more pompous. Because when he actually does things that are good, they still frame it as if it's something that we should be upset about. I just can't, honestly, I can't believe it. I mean, I can, I guess, but I can't believe how many people are falling for it. I'm glad a lot of people are waking up to the obvious deceit that we are seeing. But for the most part, I saw Jimmy cover this. I haven't seen anybody else talk about this. I saw Paz and Fiorella covered it too on the combo couch. Isn't this something that we should be like? We're being told right now, according to CNN, and they're framing this as an attack. We're being told right now, Trump is actually cleaning out hawks from his cabinet. And CNN is saying that's a bad thing. No, it's not. I don't know what else to say. That's not a bad thing. Having a national security advisor who is saying we're not moving fast enough getting troops out is not a bad thing. Cleaning out the Pentagon of people who are opposed to that effort is not a bad thing. The only bad thing I see here is CNN's framing of this. Their blatant cheerleading for the military-industrial complex. And the fact that no one is drawing this distinction that like one of the most important foreign policy discussions that we have is Afghanistan and Iraq. And the primary distinction as of right now between Donald Trump and Joe Biden is Donald Trump wants to get out of Afghanistan and has actually shown, like, not only in policy, but I'm firing people who don't want to do this and I'm hiring people who do want to do this. And Biden's like, nah, I want to stay there. This is actually, this is huge. This is huge. This is massive. How are, I don't know. Maybe we just see things a little bit differently than everybody else does, people. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're the crazy ones. Like I said, maybe we're the crazy ones. It's possible. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share it.